Well, UKIP's only MP, Douglas Carswell, joins us now from Westminster. Thanks very much indeed for talking to us. So,
hi there.
Those who want to stay in have got quite a lineup, and Lord Rose is a respected character. He's saying that it's patriotic to stay in Europe. It's going to be very difficult for you to argue against that, isn't it?
Well, first of all, I think it's a slightly unusual choice to have Lord Rose leading the campaign. He himself is on record as saying that we've got nothing to fear from leaving, and that it would be scaremongering to suggest that the sky would fall in if we left. But, you know, I grant you that there are some corporate lobbyists and some corporate vested interests lining up with this slick top-down in campaign. But, you know, the out campaign has 1,400 CEOs and entrepreneurs. It's got some very well-known business people who are coming together to say that actually we would do better if we were to leave the European Union, and that, you know, actually our future prosperity depends on us being able to trade not with the world's only declining trade bloc, the EU, but with the wider world. And I have to say, I think the business opinion is pretty evenly split.
But those campaigning to stay in have at least coalesced around one campaign. The out campaigners have got two different campaigns scrapping amongst one another, and that's going to undermine your cause, isn't it?
Think that through. If you're a narrow, top-down, lobbyist-led campaign, then yep, you're going to be pretty slick and you're going to look pretty unified. But if you've got broad support, which the Leave campaign has, you're going to have different strands of opinion. It's precisely because the Leave campaign is so broadly based and popular and bottom-up that we have different campaign strands and different groups vying to lead the campaign.
But only one campaign is actually going to be recognized.
It's a reflection of the broad-based nature of the Leave campaign.
Mr. Carswell, the point is that only one of those out campaigns is going to be properly recognised. And isn't it going to be confusing for people out there if they've got two different campaigns with two different pictures? No one knows who's going to be recognised as the official campaigners to leave.
I spent most of last week saying that, yep, there were two different campaigns, but of course it was up to the Electoral Commission to designate one of them as the official voice of the Leave campaign. And, you know, yep, I'm not surprised about that at all. I've been saying that fairly consistently on the BBC for the past week. But, you know, it's not up to me to decide who leads the out campaign, who leads the Leave campaign. It's up to the Electoral Commission. And, you know, what we can see is all sorts of enthusiasm and a sort of popular, broad-based upswell of opinion to get behind the Leave campaign. And that means, yep, we've got bundles of enthusiasm. Unlike the people who met in East London today at a press conference with no questions allowed, we unlike that top-down, lobbyist-led campaign, we have a broad campaign involving lots of people, lots of different parties, lots of different entrepreneurs and business people.
Isn't this all a bit premature, though? Don't most people want to wait and see what David Cameron gets from this renegotiation before they make their minds up? Shouldn't you be simply waiting to find out what is on the table before you gear up for these campaigns? Well,
with respect, I mean, I personally came to the conclusion that Britain would be better off outside the EU some time ago. If you remember, I left my old party and triggered a by-election, and one of the reasons for that is because I think that Britain's future prosperity depends upon us leaving the EU. But I grant you that there will be many people, perhaps as much as 40% of the population, who haven't yet made up their minds, and that is why I think a successful campaign has to be based on the issue of economics, the business interest, trade. It needs to be optimistic, it needs to be inclusive, it needs to ensure that, you know, Britons of all backgrounds, all heritages, all faiths feel that actually by voting to leave, Britain will be a better place than if we carry on being run by remote officialdom in Brussels. You know, there are huge economic and technological forces at work in the world. The European Union has lost control. The safe option is for us to vote to take back control. That's the secure option.
Douglas Carswell, for now, I'm sure these arguments have many months to run. Many thanks.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.